Well, shifting things around on a Thursday morning on KCMO. We now welcome on and we say hello to the mayor of Kansas City. We usually do on Thursdays. We're just moving the time around a little bit. We appreciate him being flexible. But Mayor Lucas is on KCMO. Mr. Mayor, we got about 7 minutes, so we need the Cliff Notes Quinton Lucas this morning, if that works.
Hard to do, but happy to be with you.
Well, we'll put it to the test here over the next 7 minutes. Let's start off with the ballpark. I'm sure you saw the Kansas City Star report last night. They're looking maybe at the Kansas City Star old printing press building there on McGee Street as a potential third option. Quinton Lucas, when it comes to that conversation, where have you been, and are you aware of that proposal being out there?
I think I'll leave it to the Royals to confirm where their searches are. What I know is I continue to have fruitful conversations with Kansas City Royals leadership. The Star story was accurate in noting that I had the chance to meet with Kansas City Royals leadership and controlling owner John Sherman last week. What I've said before is what I'll continue to say. I think the Kansas City Royals both will be playing downtown within the next decade, and both the Royals and the Chiefs will continue to play in Kansas City, Missouri. We will continue to do the work necessary from the Kansas City perspective to make sure that we help facilitate that arrangement. And, something that often is that I'm in a lot of conversations, all of which to help our city long term, help our taxpayers, and hopefully in this situation, help us keep a good Kansas City business like the Royals and, as I have noted a number of times, the Chiefs.
Do you believe that location potentially helps out Power and Light, which, you've confirmed to us and is well known on this show, is still subsidized by the taxpayer? So is that a potential win-win for you running the city and also as a result for the taxpayer if it helps prop up Power and Light?
I think I see the positives in that arrangement. I think you are right in your diagnosis of the Power and Light District. It is a helpful, wonderful thing to have in Kansas City. But when we made the deal at the beginning, I think the city taking on the debt long term was problematic. And I think that we are continuing trying to find ways to help us solve that. I mean, you have a lot of things happening in that area. 670 bridge cap, of course, the Power and Light District, new residential buildings, the Convention Center Hotel. So there is a lot of sense to be made in connection with it. Of course, there's a lot of property to acquire, a lot of discussions to be had. I'm proud to make sure I continue to have discussions with the Royals, the Chiefs, and Jackson County.
All right. Quinton Lucas is on KCMO. I do want to, I'm sure you're a busy guy, but you follow the media pretty closely. Probably saw the headline yesterday where Governor Parson said on this show he is at least considering a commutation for Eric DeValconaire, the former KCPD detective. He didn't say what he's going to do yet, but he at least says it's on his desk and it's the toughest decision he could possibly make. What's your reaction to what the governor had to say yesterday on this show?
What I'll say with respect, and I've had the chance to know a number of governors of Missouri and Kansas, Republicans and Democrats, and I know the pardon issue, clemency and commutations are very difficult, not just in this situation, but in many, particularly given the life impacts. The Governor Parson I know, and we have disagreed mightily on a few issues. The Governor Parson I know is the type of person who I think would wait for the appellate phase to be done, would wait at least for a Missouri Supreme Court decision. That's why you might have noticed, have not joined in with a supermajority of the city council and sending a letter to the governor. I haven't joined in on current approaches by the prosecutor who were trying to tell him what to do, and instead have said, I think he's going to wait for the Missouri Supreme Court decision. I'm going to wait to opine on what I think his decision might be until that point. There is absolutely no reason to make a decision before the Supreme Court of Missouri speaks. Detective DeValconaire has taken the opportunity for an appeal there. I think that's the way this system works. And I was, thinking back to even Mark McCloskey's situation a few years back. I believe the governor waited until after a guilty plea had been entered before he made some decision. So I believe in the justice system. I think the governor does too. And I think he will wait for a decision. If he does before, I'll be surprised and I'll be a little bit disappointed because he's moving faster than the courts.
When Quinton Lucas looks at the future of Kansas City, I know you've talked about this here on some social media posts as of late, the tech future, the small business startup future in Kansas City. I want to tie that into this story I saw in Business Insider. Headline, sorry, New York and San Francisco, these 4 red state cities could be the future of America. They cite Houston, Dallas, Miami, and Nashville. How does Kansas? You know them. You're involved with all the mayors of these towns.
I know them all.
How does Kansas City get itself on one of these future lists when it comes to red state cities that could be the future of America?
Here's the issue. We're playing a lot of catch up right now. Those are mega cities that have had strong brands for some time, probably Nashville having the fastest rising brand of late in connection with it. I think we do what we've been doing. We take the important steps to make sure that, one, we're attracting businesses, that we're going to tech summits like I did last week, that we bring back good investment tax credits in the state of Missouri and Kansas, that we work together by state-wise. And by the way, I got a bone to pick on you talking to me about endorsements, but I'll get back to that in a second. But nonetheless, I think we continue to push this Kansas City brand. We are known internationally as a great city and a great community to work in. And, I think that we are well on our way to being on top of that list.
All right. You've got the floor then for the next couple of minutes. I criticized you over endorsing in Johnson County, but it seems like you then realized you might have made a mistake because you deleted the post where you endorsed in Johnson County. So take me through that.
You are on the wrong social media network. That's just on Twitter. It's up on Instagram today. It stands on Facebook as well. There was somebody who disagreed, I think, with one of the school board races that was listed therein. I have no regrets on supporting endorsements. And indeed, when Mike Parson, the governor of Missouri, endorsed in the Kansas gubernatorial race, as he did, I didn't hear you talk about that. I've had a number of people endorse in city council, my races. I go around the state of Missouri and sometimes Kansas to endorse. I was asked to participate in the Wichita race. So where I may disagree is your assertion that absolutely nobody cares. Actually, people do all the time. I've been blessed to have endorsements from people outside of Kansas City before. I'm always happy to support people. And I'm proud of how well Democrats did the other day. I heard from a number of them who are happy with the results of last Tuesday's election.
They did very well, but I guess my question is this, especially since Democrats are more likely to do early voting than Republicans. Yeah. Why didn't you endorse when early voting started 10 days before the election?
It's actually pretty simple. Another thing you missed, and it's a shame I don't get to be on the shows that you are. My predecessor, Sly James, also endorsed in select Kansas races. I was actually asked by someone, "Hey, can you opine on some of these things?" There are folks that occasionally, when I post a whole ballot, as I did in that race, and I've done it in Missouri races, there are more people than you would think who would say, "Oh, I didn't even know there's an election today. I'm going to go ahead and follow those." And so, that's where it goes. But I think endorsements are vastly more widespread than you let on, and I'll continue to do that in the same way that you did too.
Do you? Well, I only did it after you did it. In fairness, do you? I mean, just in general, do you think the political climate is across the board? I don't think people in general care about endorsements that much. I mean, it's not a you thing. I mean, I don't think in presidential races endorsements matter. I don't think people care that Ben Carson endorsed Donald Trump. Like, who cares?
I'm going to say I agree with you largely, except for this point, which is that there are a lot of people. It's a shame, perhaps, but there are a lot of people who just don't know who they're going to vote for in advance. And so on a lot of these races, and you've seen it, you have that type of ballot in Johnson County where people may be saying, wait, are there school board elections? Is it city council? Is it mayor? What's going on? Whom should I vote for? And I think often if you look at endorsements as aids for people, then they can be. Back when I used to vote on, in Kansas City, Missouri, you vote on 7 seats at the same time, the mayor and the full city council. There are a lot of people who don't know every person that they may vote for, so they're looking at ballots. That's where I think endorsements matter, not so much necessarily that people say, well, whoever Quinton Lucas likes, I like. But as somebody who's been asked to endorse in places as far away as Springfield, Missouri, Wichita, Kansas, and actually other parts of the country up to and including, I think I did one for Louisville, Kentucky, and by the way, that guy won, then we've been happy to take part in that sort of thing, and I'll continue to do so, if anything, so I can see your proposed ballot in each election too.
Okay, well, we'll start calling you King Quinton then, since you're the kingmaker, it seems. We got to run.
I have no pretensions. I tend to lose most statewide races, as you probably know, but, doesn't mean we stop trying.
We'll see. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We appreciate it.
We'll see you next week.